It's time to show I have what it takes. I know I'm a fast driver, but it was a nice opportunity to kind of show that to people who don't know me. We're gonna make this work. Formula 2 next season, it's happening. With F2 on the horizon, it's really starting to become very real the closer we get to F1, and it just makes me want to push harder and harder. And the future is pretty exciting. Definitely the best is yet to come. It's Brands Hatch. It's our last round of the year. It's hard to believe how fast it's gone by, and naturally I've just started to reflect on my time here on these great British tracks, and it's just kind of hit me that this is possibly the last time I'll ever be on this circuit again. And it's really making me realize how far I've come in this sport in such a short amount of time, and really makes me excited for how much more there is to come. The F2 car it's incredible, to put it in one word. It's really a really fun car to drive. Challenging in a lot of different ways. There's a lot to learn, but I really feel like this year has been a lot of learnings, and a lot of those learnings have been around adaptability. So it's all kind of culminated into this F2 testing. I just feel like I've laid a ton of groundwork and put in all the nitty-gritty kind of grind all year. Every test in the GP2 car is making me more motivated. The closer I get to being where I need to be just pushes me even harder. And every time I step into the car, the goal of getting into Formula 2 next season is getting closer and closer.
It's wet. It's cold. Brands Hatch.
Jumping into the sport like I have these past 3 years, it's obviously going to lend itself to a lot of up and downs. That's definitely been the case for me. I've had a lot of really good memories, a lot of really bad memories, but I'm just super grateful to have had the opportunity to be here, race in these British series. I really don't believe there's a better place in the world for an aspiring race car driver to live. The competition out here is honestly just the best in the world in these lower categories. And the conditions, although they're not nice to live in sometimes, are really valuable for teaching you about car control. I wouldn't have done it any other way, moved anywhere else. Yeah, I find it really poetic that we're ending it here this year in GB3. Not only is it the last race of the GB3 season, but it's my last race in GB3 ever. And to be here at Brands Hatch, it's kind of like the beginning and the end, you know, the place where I first won, and then now. It feels like the start of something bigger, something really special growing out of this final race. I think throughout this journey, you always hear people in further up and further categories talking about their most fond memories are in these lower categories. And I can't help but kind of reminisce on all the good times I've had in GB3. You know, a lot of really close fought battles, you know, even just for one extra spot on the grid can just be tooth and nail. Good memories, and I'll miss them, but I'm really looking forward to the future, and Formula 2 is obviously super exciting. I think, you know, even from the start of the year, I had F2 in my mind. It feels like the beginning of the season was just yesterday, and so it's funny how things creep up on you. I think saying you're going to do it at the beginning of the year is definitely different than saying at the end of the year, when you actually have the belief and the confidence that you can do it. Although it's been a really up and down year with a lot of tough stuff, I now feel like I have the skills and have had the driver development to be ready for Formula 2. Every day I work towards this goal, really feeling like we're one step closer, and that distance to F2 is just getting shorter and shorter. Not only am I saying goodbye to GB3 and all these British tracks, but it's also a goodbye to VRD by Arden and all the guys that work there. Honestly, I really loved the group of guys that work on these cars, and it was just always a really fun environment to be in. Will, Redbush, Vector, Louis, Rob. Last of all, but not least, is my mech, Jonathan, you were awesome. It was just really a pleasure to work with you and really appreciate everything you did for me. Thank you for the opportunity to VRD by Arden, Dan Mitchell, and my engineer Alex I had at the end of the year, especially after the really tough first season I had in GB3. Really a big thank you for giving me a shot and allowing me to grow as I did. So we're well and done with GB3 at this point. It ended quite a bit ago, and now it's full focus on F2. A lot of people call this the off season, but really, if you're serious about your goals, there is no off season. For me, at least, the training has been the same, if not more, than during the actual season. Yeah, it's busy. It's busy. Next testing track in F2 is Portimao. It's a track that I've never been to before, but I'm really excited to get on. It's very unique, and people say it's like a roller coaster, and it truly is. There's good bits of runoff and stuff, so you feel safe pushing and testing the limits. The elevation changes are wild, a lot of blind, crests, and it's a serious track, it's a workout, and in the F2 car, it's sick. It's the third test with Campos, but it really feels like the second. Paul Ricard was just so full of mechanicals and issues, we really didn't get any good running going. So yeah, there's still a lot to work on, a lot of opportunities as I see it. A big focus is going to be on the race runs, and that's just all about tire management and figuring out the right balance between pushing and taking it easy on certain tires. Besides that, a big goal of mine is just to work on how you shape the corner in these cars. It's a lot more compressed, a lot about braking deep and getting the rotation done early, so you can take advantage of the 680 horsepower that these cars have. Yeah, it's just going to be a lot about actually understanding how to drive the car in a way that suits it best. First of all, the race run was great. I think that was the biggest improvement from the past two tests. That's an important part of learning the tires, finding the drop-off point. I just feel like I applied myself well in terms of what I didn't do good in the race runs last time and applied that to these race runs. We were able to be really consistent with our lap times pretty much until we reached some point where it dropped off like a second or two, which is just natural, but that happened in like last lap of the entire race run, which is very normal. So yeah, super successful compared to last time. I was super happy with that. Even the performance runs have gotten a lot better. I think that'll be a big goal for me going forward, is just extracting more out of the tire in a performance run. We're getting closer and closer, finding that last little bit of pace, which ultimately comes down to just the style of driving. Speaking with the engineers and the data guys, they're really happy with all the fundamentals that are there. What we have to work on is not as difficult as trying to teach a driver the fundamentals. The brake shapes, the braking style, throttle application, all of that is really good. It's just about kind of reshaping some of the corners to better suit the super high power that these cars have. Naturally, Campos being a Red Bull Junior team, I've had Linblad testing with me at Portimao, and that's been really nice. It's not nice to test by yourself somewhere. You can have past data and everything, but different days produce different times, and so it's nice to have Linblad there. He's someone that, Christian Horner's even talked about eventually coming into Red Bull, so he's a really good benchmark for myself. To be able to stack up to him is important, not only for me and my confidence, but also makes a strong statement to other teams. It's just all about stepping into a bigger pond, but it's just wild to think that 3 years ago I wasn't involved in the sport, and now I get to compare myself, and I'm being compared by other people against these drivers that are already being pushed towards Formula One. It's insane. It's a testament to all the hard work we've been putting in. It just makes me believe even more in myself and that this dream is becoming a reality. Yeah, now I'm just getting in the car and feeling comfortable. That's a big part of it too, is like you get into such a new car and it's a little overwhelming and you're just a little tentative everywhere. When you start feeling confident in a car and comfortable, it becomes an extension of your body. So you're very comfortable throwing it around, you're very comfortable with the car moving, you understand how the car is going to react to your different inputs. When you get to that level, then it becomes all about refinement. And that's where we are now, refinement. And that's what we're going to do at Barcelona. Yeah, listen, I have really massive goals, and I believe that's really important, to be goal-oriented and have at least a direction in which you're heading, but it's really easy to get lost in that. It's important to be in the moment, enjoy the journey that you're on, and also reflect on where you've been, because that also brings confidence. Because it's really easy to be training every day, working every day, and there is progress that's happening, but because you're doing it every day, sometimes it's really hard to see that. Dude, I mean, considering I wasn't even racing anything 3 years ago to now being considered for F2 drives is wild. And people want to harp on like the age thing, but it's like, I've only been doing this 3 years. If I was a 14-year-old and I started at 14 and I'd only been doing it since I was 14, I was 17 now, people would be, they'd be going nuts. Like, look how far he's come, how much he's developed in only 3 years. Imagine what he can be. There's such a stigma around age and everything, especially in sport. I believe in the power of the mind, and your mental age dictates how your body ages. To me, I feel very young, and actually I feel like I haven't even peaked yet physically, mentally. Like, I just feel stronger and better every day. This has been a conscious choice for me, which I think is quite a contrast to what it is for other drivers on the grid. I think there's a lot of power in consciously choosing to do something and putting your whole effort into it rather than just doing it because you don't know any different. I think people also forget that this whole trend of younger drivers is a very new thing. That is like, a lot of it was brought by Max Verstappen getting into the sport. Lewis obviously also got into it when he was very young. Back in the days, like Nigel Mansell and stuff, drivers were like much older than they are now. I think a lot of it is just group consciousness and sort of, there's just trends. There's trends in the sport, and I think at the end of the day, if you're quick, you're quick, and it shouldn't matter how old you are. So Barcelona, it's the last test of the year. Big push, try and get some really good results in. This is a really big opportunity for me to show teams that I'm adapting well to the F2 car, learning and progressing and developing in the way that shows I'm ready for Formula 2. Being the last test of the year, I don't like putting too much pressure on myself and being like, this is your last chance, you gotta take advantage of every single second that comes. I just kind of have what my goals are for this test, and I know I've put in the work behind the scenes to be successful, so it's just all about showing up in the right state of mind and performing. What I'd like to get out of Barcelona is I really want to be well-rounded in the car. I'm not just going to focus on performance runs or focus on race runs. I want to be really competent in both. It's just going to be about finding the few extra tenths and just getting to the ultimate pace. Yeah, I really love Barcelona, and it's a really cool track. It's very high speed, and I think it has a good bit of everything, so you kind of get to practice all the different style corners. And it'll definitely be good for the race runs. I think it's just a really good track to make sure you're a well-rounded driver. Yeah, these GP2 cars are just incredible, and it really makes me think about how special it would have been to actually race it when it was a series. Thinking of guys like Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton, guys that have won this championship before. It's really surreal, and it's just bringing me closer to that feeling of being in F1. The goal next year, I think for me, the goal is going to be very similar to what it was in GB3 this year. And it's going to be all about figuring out what parts of my driving do I still need to develop. And I just want to have any experience that comes that's going to help me develop to the absolute maximum. That's what I'm inviting into my life. If that's some tricky races, let it be. If that's some wins, obviously more than happy to have that as well. Yeah, now we're at the end of testing, and I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity to test this year with Campos, and feel like we really ended on a very strong note, hit all the points that I wanted to hit, improved everywhere I wanted to improve, and showed really strong progress, and ultimately showed that I'm capable of being really competent and competitive in F2. So yeah, that's a sign off for 2024, but there's more to come. 2025 is just around the corner. I just want to give a huge thanks to Miguel and the Campos team. It's been a pleasure, and I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity to test with them. Hopefully it comes up to something next year. The future has yet to show us what's in store, but these tests in F2 have allowed me to really refine my driving, and the car's just been super consistent. I'm a much more professional driver than I was even a year ago, and I can only hope that a year from now I'll feel even more the same way. I learned a ton this year and extracted everything out of this year that I wanted and more. No, I didn't maximize every race I had. There was a lot of missed opportunities and stuff, but I don't consider those bad things. I consider those massive learning opportunities. What I definitely can say is that I took advantage to learn from all those mistakes and apply them to better performances in the future. There's a lot of power stepping into the unknown, and there's a lot of comfort staying what you're comfortable with. I just feel really motivated. Right now, I'm just really focused on my training. For me this off season, it's gonna be a lot about physical fitness. I wanna be completely comfortable physically. That's just a good time for me to have a space where I can really push my body without having to worry about being compromised for tests coming up. Full send. Yeah, full send off season. Right now, I'm just really focused on the present moment, trying to be a better version of myself every day, pushing myself harder, finding my limits, and pushing past those. All I can say is, no matter what comes next year, I'll be ready.
What are you doing? Get alive.